Okay. All right, so good morning, everyone, once again. My name is Olga Biegus, and I represent Universal Ranger Support Alliance. And today we're going to tell you a little bit more about what URSA is and how can you help and how can we all together support rangers within the next 5 years and beyond. So today with me I have Mike Appleton from WCPA and our gorgeous panelists that will join us a little bit later. And then we're going to start with an amazing video made by Rewild, one of our members, and it will explain you a little bit more about why rangers deserve more. Here we go.
Rangers work in tough environments, dealing with complex social and ecological problems. 69% of rangers surveyed say their jobs are more difficult than most in their country. Only 50% of rangers report that they have adequate supplies or uniforms. Many work with few basic necessities. Nearly 50% do not have clean drinking water. And 60% work without any running water at all. Even though rangers have dangerous jobs, not all of them have safety nets. Nearly 45% do not have access to insurance or compensation for a job-related disease, injury, or death. In the last year, close to 60% of rangers contracted malaria, dengue, or other serious diseases. In the last 10 years, 1,175 rangers have died on the job, although the actual number is likely higher. Almost 45% of those deaths were homicides, due to encounters with poachers, loggers, or miners. 34% of rangers say they need better training. Despite putting themselves at risk daily, rangers earn less than other frontline workers like police officers and firefighters. And yet their accomplishments are astounding. Thanks to rangers, gorilla numbers in the Virunga Mountains have increased 17% in the past 14 years. In Indonesia, 13,000 trees were planted in a reforestation project between rangers and local people. In Australia, Indigenous ranger programs are empowering communities and supporting a new generation of wildlife leaders. Rangers fight for these global success stories to prevail. Imagine what rangers could do with more. Rangers deserve appropriate and reliable working conditions. Rangers deserve the training and standards awarded to other frontline professionals. Rangers deserve adequate pay and benefits. Rangers deserve government support and accountability. Rangers deserve to be treated like the heroes of the planet they are. Join us in this international call. Rangers deserve more.
I'm always getting a little bit emotional when I'm watching this one. Thank you. So now we're going to be joined by Mike Appleton from WCPA, who will tell us a little bit more about URSA. Mike, please join us. And yeah.
Hello, everybody. Very glad to be here. Thank you all for coming, and welcome to anyone who's watching and participating online. My name's Mike Appleton. I'm Vice Chair for Capacity with the World Commission on Protected Areas and also Director of Protected Area Management with Rewild. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Universal Rangers Support Alliance, why we exist and what we're trying to do. Our story starts with the World Ranger Congress, an amazing event in Chitwan in Nepal in 2019, where 550 rangers from 70 countries, more than 50% of them women, agreed to an ambitious, far-reaching declaration for improving the recognition and rights of rangers. The Chitwan Declaration, which you can consult on the online with the International Ranger Federation, includes a detailed list of needs and priorities for rangers. It calls for international support and cooperation, and it requests support from NGOs and other partners to help develop an action plan to amplify the voice of rangers at the level of this organization, rather than because a lot of rangers struggle to get their voices heard otherwise. As a result of that request, 8 organizations got together, including WCPA and with the International Ranger Federation, WWF, Rewild, Panthera, Force for Nature, FFI and ZSL, to form the Universal Ranger Support Alliance. I need to stress right now that we are not trying to be the representative organization of rangers. Rangers have great representative organizations in many countries and through the International Ranger Federation. We are here to amplify the voices of rangers and to catalyze action for rangers at the national, international and policy levels, because rangers, there are areas where the rangers themselves just can't get any traction or impact from where they are and where they're working. As a result of the Chitwan Declaration, the first thing we did is commission 8 white papers from expert groups to look at the main 8 elements of the Chitwan Declaration in detail. Those white papers have been published as papers in Park Stewardship Forum Journal this year in January. They're all free, available online, and they're amazing and detailed explorations of all these aspects, which were the pillars of the Chitwan Declaration. And as you can see, the Chitwan Declaration is not just about the rights of rangers to good working conditions. They're also looking at community relations, gender, technology, professionalization, and the role of Indigenous rangers. It's important to remember that when we're thinking about rangers, we're not just thinking about government uniformed rangers, who form a very valuable and very large part of the known ranger workforce. The ranger workforce is much bigger than that. There are also numerous community and indigenous people who do ranger work or ranger equivalent work. And our concept of ranger is very broad and includes all of those groups. Following the publication of those white papers, URSA has produced an action plan, which you can find on our website, details later, which, with a vision of a network of well-supported, professionally competent, mandated, motivated, responsible and representative rangers, that's a lot of adjectives, working effectively as custodians of biodiversity and the life support systems on which we depend. It's important we're talking about competent, motivated, responsible and representative. And we're looking for a unified global voice for rangers, accept globally accepted standards for capacity employment and employment alongside other sectors, and also standards of equality and of ranger conduct. Rangers are looking for a demonstrably professional, accountable and competent workforce whose contributions are formally recognized and respected. Our action plan has 5 main elements. I'll just say a few words about each of them. We're looking to support rangers to get formal recognition of their jobs and their job roles. This is including work with the International Labour Organization to actually get rangers recognized as an internationally accepted sector and profession, and also within a lot of governments to ensure that they're actually properly treated as official workers rather than just part-time contractors and people who come and go at the very end of a long chain of influence. We're looking for helping to build ranger capacity. Rangers are not just operatives doing work in the field. They need to be multi-skilled, multifunctional professionals. They are doing and putting everything which we are talking about here into action, and they're doing it right now. And they need the training and the support to do that. We want minimum standards of employment and welfare. As I said, we're working with the ILO to try and develop a global standard for that. We want to ensure that rangers have equal opportunities, fair treatment and equitable working environments in their workplaces. There is a real challenge for female rangers. We've just published a pretty hard-hitting report on that, details of that in a minute. We need to work on that. And also, we must ensure that rangers have a framework of working practices, ethics and conduct that value and build trust with communities and the public and promote responsibility and accountability wherever they work and in the territories of the indigenous and traditional peoples where they are operating. URSA has a steering committee which comprises the 8 members. We have a program manager who is URSA here. URSA, Olga, you have to change your name to URSA. Who, if you want to follow up afterwards, you can talk to about this. We have an action plan, and over the next while we are going to be recruiting members, partners and supporters to help us spread and amplify this message worldwide, working in partnership with the national and international ranger organizations. What are we doing? Well, we are already supporting a range of dialogue, events, advocacy, activities, roundtables, videos, a new app which you're about to hear about. We've been working on a code of conduct, competencies, employment and welfare standards, and a safeguarding standard for rangers, social safeguarding. We've been doing research, including a new report on gender. But our key aim really is adoption and change. We need donors, NGOs, governments to adopt, adapt, and implement all of these tools and standards so that the professional level and recognition of rangers of all types is improved across the world. So you can join us, you can fund us, you can help us. And at the moment, here's 3 keynote publications. Our action plan is on the website in multiple languages. Really vital report towards gender equality in the ranger workforce, which is hard-hitting reading and from which a lot of lessons need to be learned. And one of the first things we've done is rangers around the world have produced a code of conduct. A little bit more on that later as well, and that is also now available in multiple languages. Coming soon are initiatives at the moment on relations between rangers and communities, on social safeguarding guidelines for rangers to ensure this issue of responsibility and accountability, and also minimum standards of employment and ranger welfare to be adopted across the world. As I said, URSA is a coalition of like-minded organizations working to promote this. We are not the representatives of rangers. We are helping the representative rangers get their voice heard and get real difference made at the national and international levels. One of the most important aspects of the ranger work is communication and enabling rangers to talk to each other and to interact with each other rather than just sort of up to the top and then down again. And we're going to hear now about a new application, the Force for Nature application, which is already launched and which is a means for rangers to actually communicate and share their stories and experiences with each other. And for that, I'm introducing Jamie McCallum from Force for Nature. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm not Thank you, Hello, everybody. Thank you, Mike, for the introduction. Yes, I'm Jamie McCallum from Force for Nature. Force for Nature's goal, really, primarily, is to use technology to aggregate and connect rangers from around the world. And we believe that using technology in this way can enhance communication, both internal and external communication for rangers, but also then help with communication for fundraising as well. So that's our sort of primary purpose. So our first tech tool that we've built is the Ranger app, which you can see up on the screen. It is sanctioned by the International Ranger Federation, and we are also founder members of the Ranger of URSA, the Ranger Support Alliance. So far on the app, we have rangers in over 90 countries participating in the app. And there are several thousand as well. Now, we want to grow that as well. So without further ado, let me just take you through some of the features very briefly of the app. The homepage is a news section. And the idea really here is to connect rangers who may be working alone or in small groups in very isolated places around the world, but enabling them to connect with each other and feel like there is a wider movement of like-minded people working all over the world. So this is a really important initial feature. Just the news stories from around the world. So I seem to have lost the mouse. Anyone see that? That's not very good, is it? Can you see it? Did I see it pointing at the? Oh, that's not very good. Why is the? In any case, so I can point out the several features of the app here. So we've got some of the Ranger Support Alliance explainer videos here, and the news just generally glides down. We can select individual sources of information if you seek them. So there's a drop-down box here, and in the blue in the corner there is. Oh, thank you, Olga. Have you got that working? It works here. Oh, I see. We just do it on here. So this is the drop-down box that I was just talking about. So you can select where you want to get your news from. And over here on the right-hand side, in the blue box, we have filtered content, which is specifically designed for the individual. So if you are in France and you specifically want stories relating to French protected areas or in Mexico, you will have that filtered out for you. Or you can choose your areas of interest. So let's say it's marine protected areas. You can also choose your areas of interest. You can also see here, although I've already completed we had a survey, and we conduct regular surveys as well through the app. So rangers can contribute directly, not just to talking about ways they think the app could be improved for their needs, but also more broadly about the impact of their work as well. So this is the initial feature. One of the areas that we find that is the most popular is rangers themselves contributing their own stories. And we're getting stories from every corner of the globe. We're getting them from every continent. And this is starting to elicit individual connections and shared knowledge sharing. So, for example, we've had rangers in Pakistan and India talking about migratory species crossing the border between their two countries. We've had fire management discussions from rangers in Australia and California. So these are exactly the sorts of conversations that we want to be driving. So as you can see, there's a kind of very colorful array of stories. And you know, ultimately, we're not trying to create all the content here. We believe that this should be a platform for rangers and by rangers, not a top-down activity that's conducted by us ourselves. One of the other key features is the education platform. And again, rangers can choose themselves the areas that they may have a particular interest in. And again, we're not creating all this content. We're working with best practice partners, so with the IUCN and with other members of the URSA Alliance, in order to identify the best learning tools out there and to gauge them at different levels as well, so they're accessible for different parties. The final feature that we have at the moment is a forum, is a chat function. And we can start different forum groups based on individual areas of interest. So, for example, we currently have a female ranger forum. So female rangers from around the world are now sharing their own stories with each other in this private chat forum. So, there's a whole range of other things that we do at the moment, but our kind of key foci at the moment are to bring online a fully functional Spanish version of the app, although we have other languages planned behind that as well. We also want to incorporate a tools section, so that might include some of the digital tools that are available, such as Smart or Cyber Tracker. And the only other thing we're also keen to do is to incorporate a measurement system, so we can be ramping up our questionnaires and surveys so they can be much more functional. They can even start becoming a management tool. But the key thing really above all is that we are listening to improve the app all the time. So I'd love any feedback that anybody might have. You can go and download it it's for free, and you can download it from the Apple Store or from the Google Play Store, and there's also a web app version too. But the key is, the more rangers we have using this platform, the better it will be, the more value there will be for rangers themselves. So, as I say, we've got several thousand, but we want, a lot more than that as well. We can keep on growing. Thank you very much. Is that? You got one there?
Still struggling with masks after a year and a half. All right, so now we want to invite our three panelists. We're going to have a very short panel session. We don't want to bore you to death with PowerPoint presentations. So can I invite Monica Alvarez Malvido from International Ranger Federation and Mexico, Peter Mills from Game Ranger Association of Africa from South Africa, and Andrew Savage, IUCN WCPA Vice Chair, Regional Vice Chair Europe. It's a very long title. No, the slide. All right, thank you very much for coming to this panel and to be able to talk to us today. Yes, that might be useful. I'm going to have one question, and you will have approximately 3 minutes to respond to it. And then perhaps we have a few more minutes for 1 or 2 Q&A. And the question goes, what URSA can do for your organizations, and then what you can do for URSA. And we're going to start with Andre. Yes.
Thank you. Hello, can you hear me? Is it okay? Cool. I'll start with one sentence, which I think it's essential. I think that the rangers are the most important vehicle to transfer the paper parks into an operational parks. And this is very simple. And once we, working in conservation, the politicians, people in the park, will realize this, we will make a major shift from paper parks to a really effective, managed, protected areas. I think that Europe has a very specific position, because in Europe we have actually two parallel systems of protected and conserved areas. So we have a national system of protected areas and a Natura 2000 network of biodiversity important areas. And it's funny that for the later one, for the Natura 2000, actually there is no mechanism in the system which would indicate the need for rangers in this system. So let me just also let me emphasize that in Europe we have almost 30% of the land is already protected. So we are ahead of other regions in terms of the post-2020 targets. But we don't have the rangers to be properly recognized in the system. So this is where URSA can for sure help us by raising this voice. On the other hand, I think that WCPA in Europe should also promote the activities, and I'll do my best that my successor, I'm stepping down now as the regional vice chair, but that my successors will take care that in the publications of URSA on the front pages that there'll be also some rangers from Europe, because so far they're just rangers from other regions, I think. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Monica.
Hello everyone, good morning. Well, the International Ranger Federation is the formal representative body of rangers, and it has more than 140 member associations in all the world. And as we have seen today, the challenges are diverse, the contexts are very diverse. However, there are some common challenges that need to be addressed with global solutions. So URSA becomes a good opportunity to help and support the International Ranger Federation to address these common problems that rangers face. Just to put it as a context, in between 2020 and 2021, it's estimated that 120 rangers have lost their lives in the life of duty. This could be by different reasons: accidents, homicides, motorcycle bike accidents, drowning, fires, etc. And more than that, it's estimated that at least 500 rangers in those 2 years have lost their lives due to COVID. And we think that it's just the point of the iceberg because we don't know all the data and all the information. So we definitely, rangers need support in a coordinated manner, and URSA is like the platform with all these organizations, these 7, 8 NGOs at the moment to support that, including all the ones that are here today. Rangers need to be in the center of the negotiations and discussions while thinking of protected area measures and objectives. And very commonly and very often they are left out of these discussions. So we need to promote their participation and their voices to be heard, as Mike said previously, in this discussion. And URSA is also supporting in that way to raise, not to talk on behalf of them, but to let them speak and support IRF and their different representations and national associations to do this. And there are many other ways to help that I must say. If you are, for example, an NGO or organization or institution, and you want to support URSA, you can, as Mike mentioned, some examples, but it's also to share this word, share this message, let these voices be heard of the rangers, what they're going through. They are the frontline workers or planetary health workers in the protected areas, in the conserved areas. We really need to start putting attention to them and what they need to say, what they live. So another way of helping, if you are from with expertise, sometimes there's specific training or specific equipment that it's needed. So please, if you have, and it's filled in the 5-year action plan, please do come forward and help us out. And if you're an authority or you work in the government, well, rangers need support in getting together, in allowing, in the enabling conditions for them to get together, get their associations in place, and also to be listened at that national scale, to have a seat in negotiations with their national authorities. Also with training, but continuous training, and have the proper equipment that many times they don't even have, for example, boots, and we have seen that in many examples. So there are many ways to help to come forward, and we appreciate this moment to share that message on behalf of Rangers. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter, what's the perspective from South Africa?
Good morning, everybody. Well, Mike said that URSA started at the Chitwan conference, the World Ranger Congress in Nepal in 2019, and which says one thing, that the Rangers wanted URSA. So URSA was there because the Rangers wanted the organization to be there. As an association, and I'm fortunate to represent an association that is 50 years old, and we have members across Africa, and it's a hugely diverse workforce, and a ranger's work is lovely work. We enjoy our work, but we've been forced into, in certain areas, we've been forced into conflict situations that require paramilitary intervention, which we don't want. We didn't want to be pushed into that area. We want to look after the resource. We want to manage the resource, and so we've been pushed into that. I know we would talk about it a little bit later if people are interested, but we don't want to be in that space, that threatened space. Within that threatened space, we need certain skills where we're not trained in. But lots of rangers come in from communities with absolutely no training whatsoever, and have to do a job. They're not well trained, they're not well led, and they're not well equipped. And that is what, as an association, what we try and do is train, equip, elevate the profile of the rangers and so on. But we do that in a community of international rangers with the IRF, and I think we were a founder member, if I'm not mistaken. So we work very closely with the IRF and with a thin green line to support the various associations throughout the world, but in our case, Africa. And which is important. And so an organization like URSA that we wanted is there to assist the Thin Green Line, the IRF, and all that, and work through those structures to make sure that the support that we really need is the support we can get.
Thank you so much. I'm going to have a bit of a surprise because we have a fourth member of a panel that couldn't unfortunately join us online or offline. It's a DB Chowdhury from a community-led project in the buffer zone next to Chitwan National Park. So very close to our heart, or where this all started. So bear with me a second.
URSA conservation partner organizations of Nepal are working between government of Nepal and the community for the harmony and sustainable conservation with various grassroots level organizations for the improving their livelihood and educating them for increasing awareness level. Also working with CBFU and other partners for controlling poaching and human-wildlife conflict mitigation. CBFU and other conservation stakeholders and the partners are already working together with URSA. We can support URSA technically, physically with in-kind support, collecting and providing information, taking role with URSA activities for the sustainable conservation. Various other identified sectors can support URSA taking role directly, indirectly, and providing physical, technical, and financial support.
So that was DB. He was really honored that he could be part of this panel, although virtually. Okay, so we have a few more minutes for questions. So if the panel is ready, then is there any question? Yes. You need a... Oh. One of them.
Thank you. Congratulations. Absolutely true that without rangers there are no parks. So I wonder if you have any strategy to get this idea from the governments. If the government, the ministries of environment, the national park agencies don't have this as a very strong knowledge, they are not going to give the park rangers what they need. So is there any specific strategy to get to the public sector?
In Africa, most of our rangers are government officials, and we are estimated that our African Ranger force is round about, and this is a thumbsuck, so please don't quote me. It's about 40,000 people. No proper survey has been done, and there's probably more than that. So there's the governments have parks and they have rangers in them. But the same thing that you find, the thread through this whole conference is that there's not the commitment to the protected area or the people inside the protected area. And as an association, we try, and I think the other associations too, liaise with the government organizations through our members to work in the various regions where they are to uplift the rangers. We have three pillars that we try and focus on, and that is upliftment of the rangers, and that includes representing rangers at a forum like this, and going to the World Rangers Congress. Networking. We're in constant contact through WhatsApp with all the rangers on our, and they're not restricted to members of the association. They can be any ranger, and they join in. And I can show you right now, there's hundreds of them, and they chat with each other across Africa all the time. So there's that sense of community that's growing. It's only been possible since we've had all this social media stuff. And the other thing is training and equipping rangers so that they can become more specialized. And if you put all those together, we professionalize the ranger profession so that they get recognized more and then get more finances in the end. But it's a long and it's ongoing process.
I was going to say something, and then I think Mike wants to add. No? I was just going to say that something that sometimes is confusing, at least in our region in Latin America, and that we need to make clear is that ranger associations or strengthening ranger associations, it's not in a confrontative way to the state. Sometimes they can be perceived as something else that they are not. So I think it's important to share that clarity and share that the association is also to support the state, and they go together hand in hand, not in a confrontative manner, but in a positive way. And also, we've seen with well-supported national associations how they can even get extra resources for their own benefit of the rangers with the international community that also support the same, maybe many countries are struggling with budget cuts due to a pandemic and environment. So well-established ranger association can get this extra support from the outside community that it's also for the benefit of the government. So I think a lot has to do with clear communication and honesty about how positive this is.
Just one quick follow-up on that, and that is we're hoping, in order to help get traction from government, that URSA can also work a little bit from the top to help you working from the grassroots, and basically to work with international organizations, particularly with donors, and with the UN, particularly the International Labour Organization, to basically adopt the standards, the practices developed by URSA, and say, we are only going to operate with you in this framework of supporting rangers. We're not going to endorse projects and activities which end up being implemented by poorly paid, poorly led, and poorly equipped people. Not only is that inefficient and ineffective, it is also a huge risk for the kind of abuses which have been published. So this is why we're here, if you like, to appeal to that community to get on board, to actually work with governments to say this has to improve. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon and well done, URSA.
Okay, I can't hear myself, but hopefully you can hear me.
Sorry,
yeah,
can
sorry.
you hear me? I just want to say well done to URSA. I mean, where I came from the military, if you didn't have communication, you're dead in the water. And well done for what you're creating here. Just a quick question. 90% of the rangers in northern Kenya, is about 2,000 rangers and scouts, is unschooled. Not illiterate, unschooled. How can we promote the rangers to be able to discuss and talk to each other? And I'm sure that's across Africa, Asia, etc., where you've got unschooled, because quite often rangers are siloed or they have to go through chain of command to be able to communicate. So if you can create this body, I think for self-actualization for rangers, talking to a peer, talking to someone that's in the same situation halfway across the world, saving for what they care about. Kudos to everybody here. Well done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to wrap up the panel right now. Thank you so much for your time and absolutely amazing answers. So if you can join the audience. And now we're going to... Yes, now we're going to show some fairly new video, and Mike will introduce it properly, because he was preparing for that. And, well, I'm going to be struggling with technology and try to run it.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Sorry our panel could be so brief, but come to the next World Ranger Congress, which will be in, where will it be? Azores. And speak to Olga or any of us afterwards if you want to hear and learn more. We're going to finish with a new video which has just been finished. One of the first jobs which we've done in URSA is work on a global code of conduct for rangers in order to, if you like, set a benchmark for being responsible and being accountable. And as I said, this is an absolutely vital first stage. This code of conduct is already available on our website in many languages, and it's being supported now, will soon, with guidance on how to implement the code of conduct. And we have a team now also working on developing a safeguarding policy or a model safeguarding policy for actually ensuring that codes of conduct are actually observed and properly implemented. So let's just have a look at this video. Is it going to play? Thank you very much.
We are rangers. We come from many backgrounds. We live and work all around the world doing many different and often difficult jobs. We may be volunteers, employees, indigenous and local community members, or government officers. We may work as monitors, managers, educators, or defenders.
But all of us are guardians of natural, cultural, and historical heritage, committed to working together with our communities to respect and protect the world's treasures for future generations to enjoy.
We are nature's health professionals, taking on the challenge to save, restore, improve, protect, and maintain the vitality of our planet. Now, rangers from all over the world are coming together to support each other in this vital work. More than 1,800 rangers from more than 60 countries have worked with the International Ranger Federation to create the Ranger Code of Conduct. The code provides a template to establish global standards, principles of practice to help protect us from threat and harmful influence, and to inspire us to excellence in everything that we do. To succeed in this goal, it needs to be adapted by rangers to local needs, shared and implemented worldwide.
This is a short summary of what we have agreed.
We're professionals and proud to be rangers. We will ensure that we understand and follow lawful instructions at all times, that we develop knowledge to apply to our work, and that we take responsibility for our actions and the consequences of our actions with honesty, integrity, and positivity.
We will treat all persons with equal respect, tolerance, and courtesy, and ask the same of everyone we work with. We will uphold the human rights and dignity of all persons at all times.
We will not tolerate actions by others that violate human rights, and will take a stand on wrongdoing, reporting it whenever it occurs.
We will work to earn the support, trust, and loyalty of our colleagues and communities, our organisations and workplaces, and strive to give loyalty, trust, and support in return. We will respect all cultures, customs, rights, livelihoods, and knowledge.
We will ensure that we and those we work with understand and abide by laws and regulations at all times, only giving or carrying out lawful instructions. We will always challenge, report, and act against violations of the Ranger Code, whether by colleagues or others within our organisations.
We will respect confidentiality and never disclose sensitive information about our work to any unauthorised persons.
We will never commit, allow, or aid in any crime. We will actively oppose all kinds of corruption and bribery. We will report any crime or corrupt activities to the relevant authorities.
Although our roles as first responders often call for courage and bravery, we'll always put safety first. We will maintain our own physical and mental health and fitness for duty and help others to do the same.
Where we find breaches of laws and regulations, we will consider our actions carefully. We will prioritise our safety and the safety of others, and use minimum necessary force as a last resort only. We will ensure the safety of anyone in our custody.
If we carry firearms, we will be properly trained in their use and maintenance and understand and respect all laws and regulations concerning their use.
We will only use firearms when and where mandated to do so, and when faced with imminent lethal threat to ourselves or others, understanding that we are fully accountable for our actions.
This is our Ranger Code, a living document to be regularly reviewed and updated. Please work with us to ensure that the code offers the best possible guidance and protection to all Rangers everywhere.
To read the Ranger Code of Conduct in full, go to the resources section on the URSA website at ursaforrangers.org.
If you would like to network with other Rangers and share more about your experience using the code, download the Force for Nature app on your smartphone.
This video is available also in French and Spanish on the website, and I'll leave the last word to Olga.
Yes, thank you. So I love that video even more than the previous one, and it made me really proud that I'm part of this movement. But up to down to, sorry, I'm a little bit. Okay, sorry. If you want to talk to us, join us at 8:12, which is across the entire hall. And then we'll tell you more about how you can join us, when you can join us. You can also follow the website. You have a QR code. There's a little banner just behind you. And then you can also download the app directly from another QR code, which is also on our banner. So I hope you're going to follow us to 8:02, and then we can discuss in details how you can support Rangers. Thank you.